Hello, everyone. This is Dr. Kyle Allison, and welcome to week two of marketing management and strategy. In week one, we focused on what it means to have marketing strategy in general in an organization and the fundamentals of what marketing is and how important the marketing department is in any organization or business. Tonight, we're going to focus on this section, topics covered around consumer behavior and how important it is to develop marketing strategies and techniques based on consumer behaviors. We'll also discuss consumer behavior purchasing patterns and some of the major consumer behavior theories that exist in academia today. So let's get started. So at the core, what is consumer behavior? Consumer behavior is the study of individuals and organizations and how they select and use products and services. It is mainly concerned with psychology, motivations, and behavior. The study of consumer behavior includes how consumers think and feel about different alternatives, brands, products, services, and retailers. So it's really understanding what customers look for in their different options when it comes to products or services, or where they even obtain their products and services, what types of retailers or businesses. It also contains how consumers reason and select between different alternatives. So what's the motivation factor? What is the reason why consumers go from one brand, company, product, or service to the other? What is their motivational factor? Number four, the behavior of consumers while researching and shopping. So what is the psychology? What is the behavior methods of consumers while they're looking for information on a product, researching, and the decisions they make based on doing product research? How consumer behavior is influenced by their environment, by their peers, culture, or media. So what influences consumers to shop in certain places or certain brands or products? What is their peer influence, their family influence? What is the cultural influence in the surroundings they live in? What are the market dynamics that influence consumers to purchase certain things? And what does the media do to influence them as well? And lastly, consumer behavior is understanding how marketing campaigns can be adapted and improved to more effectively influence the consumer. So a big part of developing marketing strategy and campaigns is understanding all the dynamics above. What are the key motivational factors and influences certain consumers to have them understand how to market to those consumers on the products and services based on behavioral methods and research? When it comes to consumer behavior, we have to ask, what influences consumers to behave in the way they do? Well, there are three main factors we need to consider when evaluating consumer behavior. The first is personal factors. This is a person's interests and opinions. This can be affected and influenced by demographics such as age, gender, culture, profession, background, and so on. A lot of these demographics can also influence, based on peer influences. What are your peers in a similar age group or cultural group? What can they say to influence you to shop a certain brand or go to a certain retailer? We do a lot based on word of mouth. There's a lot of things we do based on peers and what they tell us about, their favorite places to shop. And we really trust others when it comes to their reviews of products and services. But at the end of the day, what you shop for, what kind of behavior you have towards a certain brand or company is all based on your interests and opinions. Opinion goes a long way, and it's really the job of a marketing strategist or marketing team to play off those interests and opinions and work towards campaigns that really influence consumers to shop at their companies based on those personal dynamics. Number two, there's also psychological factors. Everybody's response to a particular marketing campaign will be based on their perceptions and attitudes. A person's ability to comprehend information, their perception of their need, their attitude, will all play a part. Quite frankly, marketing campaigns such as advertisements, any advertisement you see on TV, commercial, or radio commercial, or digital marketing campaign online, a banner or email blast, all of those are marketing campaigns. The type of imagery being used, the content, the messaging, all are trying to appeal to the emotion of a consumer and all trying to play off the psychological mind of the consumer as well. So influences from those marketing campaigns really do drive consumers to, buy or purchase from certain brands or services or companies. So it's really the job of the marketing organization to build strategies around how do you build that emotional connection with the consumer off their psychological factors. So that's a big component as well. The third is social factors. So again, personal factors are engaged with your peers, but social factors is really where it comes down to your peer groups, your families and friends, social media. Social media has definitely influenced consumers in the last 5 to 10 years. Social media is a place where people go to vent about product issues or praise products and services. I'm sure a lot of you go on social media often to review the latest movie coming out to get, what kind of perceptions are out there from your peer groups about a certain movie. And that's a marketing technique. Or a lot of companies use social media to market towards individuals because they know the value of social media and how it influences consumers to behave. So all those factors all have more details involved in each of them, but at a high level, each of these three are major influences to consumer behavior. So it's really important to a marketer today to understand how each of these influences can be used to build strategy, to develop marketing campaigns or marketing techniques to work towards those consumer behavior metrics. But when you work towards consumer behavior metrics or analysis, you have to collect data. Collecting data is very important to understand consumers and their behavior, where they're going. As the motivations that influence consumer behavior are so wide, a research mix including a variety of data will be the most robust. As some are the more cost effective than others. So you don't just get your data from one source. You don't get one type of consumer behavior data either. You need to collect as many different types of consumer data as possible to build that consumer profile for your company, to really understand all of the different perspectives and engagement tactics that really work for your particular customers. Some of the ways you can collect data to understand your consumers are customer reviews. Reading customer reviews can highlight common problems or wishes. Customer reviews on websites or in different newspapers are really good to understand because it's direct customer communication about what that customer perceives as a problem or issue or praise about a certain product. And you can use those insights to really develop new ways to fix that product or service or really retarget the marketing towards those consumers. Q&A sites or question and answer sites. These sites can give you an idea of the questions and concerns that people have in relation to your brand, service, or product. So it's really important to look at those Q&A sites and those boards where people are asking specific questions, and that information is invaluable. If you have a certain population of individuals asking the same question, there's a lot of validity into what they're asking, and so therefore it's the job of the marketer to take those insights and to do something with it. Surveys. Online surveys can be easily set up that allow you to ask specific questions. So if there's a new product or service you're rolling out into the market and you want to understand the perception of what consumers are saying about that product or service, you can develop a survey and ask very specific questions about the functionality of the product or service, about the price, about just in general, what do the customers think. Surveys can get some insights in a qualitative and quantitative sample amount of data for you to review to make decisions off of. Focus groups are also very important. This is where you bring in a group of consumers together and ask them questions directly, usually face-to-face, sometimes a webinar, but really what it is, it allows you to grab a sample size of people, the right sample size too, depending on your product or service, and ask questions as a group. That group feedback gives you a collective viewpoint from consumers on what they think, and any kind of common responses is something you can take away to either improve your product or service or figure out ways to market it better so people understand the benefits and value of your product or service. For online, keyword search is really important. Understanding SEO or search engine optimization, how people are searching for your product on the internet, is very important. Consumer behavior is all about how they're searching for information, how they're looking for it. So understanding the keywords that they're looking to use to find your product or service is very impactful. And you want to make sure that your brand or service is at the top of any search engine ranking. So when consumers type in certain words, for example, if they're looking for a pair of jeans and they're writing the words jeans, you want to make sure that if you're a brand of jeans that you are somewhere in the top search results. Or customers could be calling it pants, but really do mean jeans. You have to understand those kinds of dynamics to understand how you can get front and center of the mind of your consumer to shop for your product or service. The next opportunity to collect data is in Google Analytics or really any web analytics tools. These tools for websites can be really valuable to understand the consumer shopping behavior on a website. They can tell you where customers are going, how they got there, where they're going after they leave the website, where they're going in the website to convert into being a shopper, and really all the dynamics about what they're looking for on that website as well. So web analytics is a whole other realm of consumer behavior analytics, but in general, it just means understanding the customer path, the customer behavior when they go to a website, how they're shopping, what they're looking for, and what marketers can do is learn from that to improve that shopping experience or the type of marketing on a website to really appeal to consumers. Another type of collecting data method is competitor analysis. This is very useful information about consumers and their shopping behavior in vertical, but don't buy from your brand. It's very important to understand how consumers can, work with other competitors. What is it about the competition that they're doing to attract customers in your market? You can also learn from your competitors to find ways to build strategies to do things different and better than your competitors to gain market share, to get customers to come back to you or acquire customers from other competitors. So understanding your competitors, what they're doing well in their marketing strategies or their experience is really important to understand. Blog comments. So comments on your blog can be a very good way of discovering any questions your audience might have. So if your website or if you do have a forum, some type of suggestion box, some type of forum to review comments or even on social media, very important to look at those comments on a regular basis to evaluate what consumers are saying about your product or service. Twitter is a great driving social media mechanism. Twitter recently launched Insiders, a 12,000 strong focus group of US and UK Twitter users. So there's methods within Twitter to develop social focus groups to drive consumer insights. Google Trends is also very important. Google Trends can help you to understand if a topic is becoming more or less popular. So by looking at the trends of what people are doing online for Google searches and Google shopping or Google behavior, can keep you up to date at what's going on in the market. Even government data. Government data is available for free. It can help you understand a group, and some other sources it can also be accessed without charge. Government data such as labor statistics, to understand the job market, how is consumer spending going, also demographic data, populist data, ways to target and segment certain consumer groups and their behavior patterns can be found in government data. And at the end of the day, we keep talking about it, but social media. Millions of people reflect their lives on social media. So information that can enrich several standards of consumer behavior can be uncovered with the right tools. So understanding what people are saying on social media, what they're looking for, what they're saying, what they're reacting to, is all consumer behavior data that can be used to make strategic decisions in marketing. So now we've taken a look at what influences consumer behavior and what are some of the key ways of collecting data to do analysis and make strategic decisions. We now need to go back to the psychology of the consumer mind and what it is that makes them decide to purchase things. So this is called the consumer buying process or the consumer decision making process. So as consumers, we do this on a regular basis. Anytime you go shopping or buy something, we all experience this. First, there's a need recognition. There's a reason why you're going to go buy what you're going to buy or spend money on what you're spending on, whether a product or a service. You have some type of need. You have something that you need, that's going to fill a void or fill a solution, something that you just have to have as well. It can be a wants or desires. It's not always a need based. It's a desire to go out and buy something that you want or, that's going to improve your life. Whatever it is, you recognize that in your brain, say, I need to go out and I need to find the best option for this particular product or service. Then you go out and you do step number 2, information searching and processing. You may already know what the direct product is you have in mind, but you want to understand the price. So you go online to find the best price you can find it at. And at times, if you're only driven by price, you go price searching, you go price comparison. That's your searching mechanism. Or you have an idea about what you want, but you're not sure which brand or type that you want. So you go out and evaluate different products that have similar attributes or specifications, and you compare brands and pricing. Or you don't even know what the product is that you want, but you have a specific need in mind of what you're needing to solve or fill a void for, and therefore you go out and try to find the product and do research. So the internet generally is the biggest place to do that. Or you go to a local store and ask a store associate, or you just kind of ask your friends. the information searching and processing can be different for everybody. It really just does depend on your way of looking for information, and it does differ for a lot of people. 3, identification and evaluation of alternatives. So after you kind of figured out which direction you're going to go and how you're going to search for information, you generally land on, unless you have a specific product in mind, you definitely land on a few options, right? Those options could be at one retailer or company, or they could be at multiple companies. Sometimes it's which company do I go to, a retailer, to buy this product or service versus the actual products themselves. In that, do I go to, for example, if I need a home improvement product, do I go to Lowe's or Home Depot? I know I need this particular tool, and the same tool is on sale for the same price at both Lowe's and Home Depot. But what is that warranty that I like better? Is it better at Home Depot? I may just go there because I have a better warranty for my money. Or do I have a better installation service at Lowe's? So I may go there. There's all these different types of evaluations that have to take place. Or it's a tool that I need that's home improvement related, and Lowe's is $20 cheaper than Home Depot. I may just make the decision to go to the alternative route of going to Lowe's because it's $20 cheaper. Again, there's all these different dynamics of what influences to make a decision, but it's the identification and evaluation of those options and alternatives that really we start to look at which direction am I going to go. Then you finally make your decision. And once you make your decision, you go and you buy it, and therefore you have your product or service. But what really matters also is when you go out and actually use that product or service for the first time or repetitive times to understand, did I get the value I'm looking for? Did this product fulfill the need I was looking for? Did it fit the exact decision I was trying to make? And then your post-purchase behavior could be you use it, you keep it, and it works. Perhaps you provide a customer review or evaluation. Or if that's not something you do, you just don't do anything, and that's fine. Or if there's a problem with your product or service, then yeah, you go back and try to return it, make a complaint. So it really depends on the complexity of your decision as well. A complex decision making on the left means you're really trying to figure out and evaluate what is it that you need, and what it's going to fulfill your needs based decision. Or it can be very simple as well. It just depends on your product or service, and we've all been there, either in a complex situation or simple situation. But understanding the methods and this process from steps 1 through 5 is very important for marketers to understand where do they interject their marketing campaign. They have to make sure that they understand where to go in steps 1 and 2 to provide the best product information or service information so consumers can find exactly what they're looking for and how to differentiate themselves. Steps 3 and 4 are very important too, to close that sale with the consumer, to make sure they convert into a shopper, to make sure your right marketing messages are there to entice and influence a consumer to shop, but also make them a shopper of your product or service. And then number 5, if a consumer has an issue, make sure your customer service is ready to react and provide great customer service, or you can respond to any problems a customer may have. So in understanding the buying process of a consumer, you also have to understand where it is your business provide great marketing and customer service along the way. So let's peel these different levels and steps of the buying process into more detail. For needs recognition, there is need, want, and demand. A need occurs when consumers' existing level of satisfaction does not equal their desired level of satisfaction. So therefore, they're not looking to get something just to fulfill a need or fulfill a certain value of satisfaction. It's really just they need it, so they have to have it to move forward with something or to fulfill a problem. The want, though, is a desire for a specific product that will satisfy the need. A want is more above and beyond. It's something that you don't necessarily have to have, but you want it because it's going to fulfill some type of satisfaction. Demand, though, occurs when a consumer's ability and willingness to purchase a specific product backs up their want for the product. So demand is more, it's definitely something you want. No matter what it takes, you're going to get it. And that's a buying process and a needs recognition that you have to understand how to market to as well. The needs-based products, consumer products, are definitely a part of that. Toiletries, cleaning products, toothpaste, shampoo, those types of products are needs. Everybody needs those types of products, right? So marketing around those is all about the value you bring and maybe pricing. The wants, though, are if you want a certain brand or want a certain level of additional service for a service. Those you market a different way. What are the above and beyond value proposition things I can market to my consumers? And then the demand. It's really making sure you have the product in the right place at the right time to fulfill that need or want for the consumer. If your products aren't available and you can't market that your products are available, then you're really going to have a tough time converting those shoppers for your products or service. One of the benefits of collecting consumer behavior data, or just basically data on consumers in general, is that you can build market segmentation, opportunities to really create groups to market, more than just at a mass scale. Marketing to the masses is fine from time to time, but at times, though, your marketing spend, your marketing ROI on the advertising you spend can be more beneficial, though, if you target your audiences. So you develop marketing segmentation techniques. It's the process of dividing the total market for a particular product or product category into relatively homogeneous segments or groups. It's the ability to create groups where members are similar to each other but dissimilar to other groups. It involves the fundamental decision of whether to segment at all. It typically allows firms to be more successful. So at times, it's these dynamics on the right: demographic, behavioral, psychographic, and geographic. You could have a combination of all four. You could have a combination of two, or it could be one type of segment. It really depends on your strategy. Again, the benefit is to narrow in a particular marketing campaign to a certain group of individuals who will respond based on their consumer behavior models to a certain marketing campaign in general. So let's take a look at this in more detail. So while the notion of building market segments for your product or service is very important, it can also be somewhat challenging. So the first thing you want to do is make sure you do have as much of those consumer collecting data inputs as possible. If you only have one or two or three of those various methods of obtaining consumer behavior data or information about your customers, it's going to be more challenging for you to develop market segments or target groups because the information is very wide open. It doesn't narrow in as much of the information as possible to get to know your customers. So as many data sources as you can get and as many different types of consumer insights and information you can obtain, the better off your chances are for more efficient marketing segments. Identifying market segments involves selecting the most relevant characteristics to identify and define the target market or market segment for your business. So again, your business and your industry will have different characteristics and attributes that you need to develop to identify your customer targets. It's not the same for every company, but it can be similar across the same industry. Successful market segments must fulfill 5 criteria. First, the market segment must be able to be identifiable and measurable. You must be able to know exactly who your market segment is with no questions asked about who they are, their kind of profile information, and so on. And how can they be measured? How are they measured? Are they measured based on the data you collected? What is the KPIs around that market segment? What are the different ways you can identify who they are? So they're substantial. You want to make sure your market segment or target groups are substantial enough in a large enough sample size for you to be able to produce the results of a marketing campaign. If the size isn't substantial enough or the amount of characteristics identified, it's therefore going to result in not as successful marketing segment initiative. It's accessible. Can you target your market but also be able to reach them? Can you reach them through some type of marketing vehicle, whether it's digital via email blast, banners, social media, or is it traditional such as print, a newspaper ad, things of that nature? You have to be able to access your market segment. If you can't reach them through some type of marketing communication, then there really is no reason to segment to that market. Is this market going to be responsive? If you develop this group and target this group, are you going to be able to make them react to your marketing campaign? Are you going to be able to influence and sway them to be shoppers of your marketing campaign? Will they be able to respond back to you as well through communication via customer service, social media, or other mechanisms? And lastly, is it viable and again, sustainable? Is this market segment going to be more than just a one-off campaign, a one-time marketing message? Can you retarget them more and more? Can you go back to the same market segment and develop new marketing strategies and campaigns, and you not have to you wouldn't have to calculate or reanalyze who that market segment is. Are they long-term in nature, and are they the right target segment build for your organization? Avoid ethically sensitive but legal segments. Again, what it's saying is that it's okay to group people based on certain demographics or different cultural segments if it makes sense. If your product or service is catered towards a certain demographic or cultural group, that's okay, but make sure you do it within legal parameters. You don't want to discriminate. You don't want to have a marketing campaign that alienates certain segments that it shouldn't be alienating. So you really need to do your research to make sure your market segment is legal, but also is ethically sound. Avoid segments that do not match the firm's expertise. So you don't want to develop market segments or target groups that go against your marketing expertise or your company's expertise. For example, if you're a technology company, you don't want to develop marketing segments based on, certain cooking behavior, certain cooking dynamics of the consumers, as in favorite ways to cook or cooking products. If you're a technology company, you want to develop marketing segments around how consumers react to your technology or how they adopt your technology. So make sure you stay within the industry that you're in. Here's a great example of the snack market and how they segmented their different types of consumers around the types of snacks they entertain. So the different segments that they developed were nutritional snackers, the Weight Watcher group, the guilty snackers, the party snackers, the indiscriminate snackers, and the economical snackers. And then you can see how they develop different benefits for each of the different types. From nutritional snackers, the segment of consumers who prefer nutrition and really good ingredients in their products, to the Weight Watchers, the group of individuals that they could target certain marketing on the more low calorie, quick energy, or more weight efficient type of products, all the way to the far right, as an example, economical snackers. They were able to develop a market segment based on the consumers who are looking for the most cost-effective, low-priced type snacks. So they did this based on a variety of data, right? And they consumed all the data inputs of sales data to consumer behavior, surveys to social media. I'm sure they did a wide variety of consumer insight analysis to develop these segments based on all types of data inputs. So therefore, they were able to talk about the types of snacks they knew each segment would like: fruits and vegetables and cheeses for the nutritional snackers. Go over to the guilty snackers. This segment likes yogurt, cookies, crackers, candy. And then the economical snackers on the far right, there's no specific products. As long as it's the right price, they didn't care. So they were able to find out what types of products they could market and cater to those different types of segments. Then you look at the snack consumption level. One key attribute this company under the snack market thought was important was how often these individuals are buying their snacks. So this gives you an idea how often you need to market towards those people. Buyer frequency and consumer purchasing frequency, how often they purchase your product or service, is very important to understand on how to build strategies, because you don't want to market to somebody, let's say, on a weekly basis if they only buy your product monthly, or you don't want to market them to not enough times to hit them to make sure they go back and to buy your product or service. So they are buying you weekly. You want to make sure you send them a weekly advertisement, that kind of thing. And then all the different psychographic, demographic types of characteristics about those customers are there as well, based on demographics. So they can tailor their messaging, maybe lifestyle imagery in their marketing campaigns. So for the Weight Watchers group, they identify them as younger, single individuals. So they're probably going to find imagery and marketing messages that tailor towards the younger single lifestyle audience. Let's talk about the party snackers. They're middle-aged, they're suburban, they're more family-oriented. So they're going to find people in their middle age groups and images and that kind of thing to tailor their marketing content around it as well. So another benefit of marketing segmentation is what type of imagery and content can you tailor towards those specific audiences. So understanding how to, segment your markets or segment your audiences and your consumers can really help you develop really strategic marketing techniques. As you study consumer behavior, there are key theories to keep in mind as a marketing strategist. These theories have been around for a long time, but still make sense today, and are ways that marketing managers and marketing strategists can keep in mind on how to market towards certain consumers. The first theory is the theory of reasoned action. This was created by Martin Fishbein and Isaac Ashgen in the late 1960s. The theory of reasoned action centers its analysis on the importance of pre-existing attitudes in that decision-making process. The core of the theory posits that consumers act on a behavior based on their intention to create or receive a particular outcome, In this analysis, consumers are rational actors who choose to act on their best interests. According to the theory, there is something specific in mind that is critical in their decision-making process. A consumer only takes a specific action when there's an equal specific result expected. From the time the consumer decides to act to the time the action is completed, the consumer retains the ability to change his or her mind and decide on different course of action. What this really means is that a consumer in this type of theory has the has a clear objective of what they're purchasing and why they're purchasing it. And they already have the desired outcome in mind. It's only at the point of the transaction where if they're influenced by something else that could sway their mind, but they do it based on reason. These are the type of people that really have a needs-based purchasing pattern. They know what they want, they know what they need, and they don't really have much in the way of changing their mind. Marketers can learn several lessons from this theory of reasoned action. First, when marketing a product to consumers, marketers must associate a purchase with a positive result, and that result must be specific. For example, Axe Body Spray used this concept very effectively by linking its product to a desirability with women. Second, the theory highlights that the importance of moving consumers through the sales pipeline. Marketers must understand the long lags between initial intention and the completion of action, which allows consumers plenty of time to talk themselves out of a purchase or question the outcome of the purchase. You don't want to have your marketing campaign in this theory of reasoned action be so open-ended that the consumer is going to question and ponder what is the ultimate outcome of this product? Why do I need this? You want to be straight and specific and to the point. For example, you could be marketing a pair of Nike running shoes. You don't want to have the consumer believe or have some open-ended thought that these shoes might be the right shoes to make this customer feel comfortable and run faster. You want to market to them straightforward that these are the right shoes for their running endeavors and their activities to make them feel comfortable and run well. So therefore, in the theory of reasoned action, you need to have a very straightforward approach to how you market the product with the direct approach of what the outcome and result will be. The next consumer behavior theory is called the EKB model. It expands the theory of reasoned action a little bit further and lays out a 5-step process that consumers use when making a purchase. The first step, input, is where consumers absorb most of the marketing materials they see on television, news, or online. They take the wide variety of advertisements seen to them and they absorb it. Once a consumer collects that information or data, he or she moves into the information processing, where the consumer compares the input to past experiences and expectations. Therefore, what this is saying is that in the advertisements you see or you hear, you take that information, you absorb it, and then you relate it to your own personal life. You relate it to your past experiences. Will this product fulfill the need I have and the want I have, but also based on my past with this particular type of product or company or brand, will I get what I want out of it? And that's how you relate it to that type of theory. Once you kind of dissect that advertising and really put it in your brain that yes, I'm ready to move forward, you move to the decision-making stage after a period of that thought. You choose to make a purchase based on rational insight. You're rationalizing in your head why you need it and what about this particular product or service is going to be work right for me. Consumers are affected in the decision-making phase by process variables and external influences, including how the consumer envisions his or herself after making the purchase. A lot of the times we make a purchase, a big purchase especially, like a new car or a house or something big in nature, we envision ourselves with that purchase, with that product or service after the fact. So it's really important that in this model, you understand that it's all about that consumers need to understand the value they have, not just at the purchase, not immediately at the purchase, but also long term. Under this EKB model, marketers have 2 periods where their input is most valuable. During the initial information stage, marketers must provide consumers with enough information about the product to drive the consumer to keep the company's products under consideration for purchase. Marketing becomes a factor again in the phase of external influences. For example, lifestyle brands are very good at instilling desire in the consumer to look or feel a certain way about the product, even if the brand's product is not fundamentally different from the competition. It's all about that hook, making the customer feel like they need this product, but also that they have an affinity or loyalty to the brand as well. So this is all about acquiring the advertising, thinking through it, and then making them feel a sense of ownership that the decision to make this purchase was correct, and also you kept them as a loyal person to your brand or service. The next theory of consumer behavior is called motivation need theory. Abraham Maslow put forward his hierarchy of needs in 1943, sending a ripple effect through the entire psychological community. Under his theory, people act to fulfill their needs based on a five-part priority system. The needs include, in order of importance, physiological survival. Do they need this product to survive? Do they need this product to feel safe or safety? Is there love, esteem, and self-actualization? These are motivations of why people need products. Business schools and marketing classes adapt in Maslow's theories to explain the need to tailor marketing messages to consumers in a particular way. Successful marketing campaigns must not always bring awareness to a product, but also establish its place somewhere in the hierarchy of needs. Consumers are motivated to prioritize purchases toward the base of the hierarchy. So it is vital to the companies draft a message that instills a sense of need of urgency in consumers. At the end of the day, it's very important for a marketing strategy or marketing campaign to hook that consumer into why they need this product. There's motivational factors for why you need something. Maslow's hierarchy of needs states physiological survival, so food, especially is something that you need to survive. You're going to hook, that consumer on your marketing message or campaign, saying that you need this. Safety. Do you feel safe with this product? Does it make you feel safe? Those are a needs-based type consumer behavior. Do you feel loved, or do you have some type of feeling of emotion and esteem? Those are very important to consider as well. Marketers have been able to use motivational need theory very effectively by creating an artificial need for consumers. For example, modern luxury car makers are especially good at highlighting the safety and security features of their vehicles over the aesthetic. In the consumer's mind, they need to spend money on an expensive luxury car because it's the only way they can provide adequate safety features for their family. This is not necessarily a way of saying we're going to trick the customer. It's just a strategy to say that a luxury car, while more expensive, we can promote the safety mechanisms, the insurance that your family is safe with our vehicles. And oh, by the way, they are made with better quality and better features and benefits. That's that motivation need theory. If you hone in on that, that's a good way as a marketing strategist to build strategy to hook people in. If you can tie into their emotions and the motivations for need, you have a much better chance of converting them into a shopper. The last theory we're going to talk about is the Hawkins-Stern impulse buying theory. While many of the theories of consumer behavior focus on rational action, Hawkins-Stern believed heavily in the idea of impulse behavior. So think about the other theories all being centered around thinking through it. You identify what you need, and you develop your alternatives, and you seek out information, and you make a sound decision based on rational thought. But we've all been guilty of impulse buying. You see something right then and then, you're like, you know what? I just want that because of the instant gratification. Or, I didn't think I might need that, but I'm going to buy it anyways. The checkout line at a store is pivotal for this. The checkout lane with the candy and the gift cards and lottery tickets, whatever. That's impulse buying, the instant gratification that I think I want that, so I'm going to go ahead and just get it right then and there. Stern argued that sudden buying impulses fit alongside rational purchasing decisions to paint a complete picture of the average consumer. Impulse purchases are driven largely by external stimuli and have almost no relationship to traditional decision making. Really, it's the truth. There's times where impulse buying is just in the moment, spur of the moment, and we've all done that one time or another. Stern established 4 categories of impulse buying. The first category are purely impulse purchases, like a candy bar at the checkout line in the grocery store, just like we talked about. The second type of impulse buying is where consumers make a reminded impulse buy, like placing a display of hot dog buns next to a meat cooler. It's more that we call it upsell or cross-sell opportunity in merchandising. It's where you take something that's a add-on to what you're currently buying. You may go to the store and buy a new comforter or a new mattress. So you may say, you know what, I'm gonna go ahead and buy new sheets and pillows, and you market it in the store right next to it because you may not think you need new sheets, but because you're there buying a new mattress and comforter, I'm gonna buy new bed sheets. Or again, you go to a convenience store and you want a coffee, but wow, the impulse buys, there's a donut. I may want to buy that donut as well because it just looks good and it'll accompany my coffee. It's that type of thing. And it's a really key strategy for driving your basket value, your average order value. The overall sale at the register is impacted by impulse buys. Impulse buying theories present an ocean of opportunities for marketers. Every aspect of a product, from the way the packaging catches the eye to the way the product is displayed in the store, has an impact on the consumer's impulse control. Marketers who can capture the impulse of thought and close the sale will have the most success. Again, closing that sale, that add-on value, and a lot of the times, profitability within a company can drive on those add-on items. Those additional impulse products that are purchased can really offset the margin. So something that's on sale at a discount, companies generally are not making as much profit on those products, but they look at extended products, warranties for that matter are also an impulse buy potentially. Pay an extra $30 for 2 years of coverage. That may entice someone to do that in the moment. That's an impulse buy, and the company makes extra profit off that warranty. Those kinds of situations are where marketers can really drive extra sales and profitability for a company. Lastly, consumer behavior theories predict how consumers make purchase decisions and show marketers how to best capitalize on predictable behaviors. Though impulse purchases are a significant part of a consumer buying pattern, rational decision-making processes dominate consumer behavior and affect marketing theory. So impulse buying is just an add-on theory as well. Again, rational thought and the entire decision-making process, which we talked about in this lecture, are still valid. And again, going back to that decision-making process, when to market, and how to follow up with your consumers is very important. That wraps up our consumer behavior theories and consumer behavior discussion. If you have any questions, feel free to reach out, and I do look forward to speaking with you soon.